A's, B's, what have you. One of our best customers for years was this amusement park in Anaheim, California, called Disneyland. And on the log ride, had all SA holdbacks on it. The government came out years ago, maybe 15, 20 years ago, and said, you can't use holdbacks, external holdbacks, on man movers. If they're conveying people, you can't use external holdbacks. So the customer out in Anaheim, country with a customer named AIT, would call up and say, I need to replace these holdbacks. We say, stop right there, don't tell us who the customer is, we'll ship them to you.
Yeah, same thing happened again at Wonderland.
But yeah, and what's nice about it, we make the holdbacks in-house, been making them for years. The one nice feature that is a good selling point for us with ours versus a Falk or Marlin, what have you, when one of them fails, they have to send them back to the factory to get rebuilt. They have to have a spare. We will actually sell you rebuild kits for them, and you can rebuild them yourself.
Springs, plungers, and rollers, the main three.
That, it keeps the cost down for the customer. So they keep an extra one on the shelf, he can carry some spare parts for it, and that's it. And I don't think many people will do that. We also rebuild them in-house if they want to rebuild them.
Rebuild competitors?
No, we'll not do rebuild competitors. And we can't do it just because for safety reasons. We can't test someone else's and certify that it still meets requirements.
Their standards and everything.
So we shy away from that. But, the Torque Master's only got really two moving parts for the most part. The wedge block in there and all the springs and plungers, and that's it. It's very simple to rebuild. You can rebuild one. If your inner seal isn't leaking, you can actually rebuild it while it's on the shaft. If it's just springs and plungers.
I know the majority of the ones that have come back, the old Belleville plant over the years, 75, 80% of the ones that came back, it wasn't the wedge block, it was just the springs, plungers, and
Now,
rollers.
we don't go around telling people they can rebuild them in their shops and stuff. We try to find out who's going to do it, who's qualified to do it. Because Jim Bob working on his garage, down on the farm, with dust, dirt, and everything else, and laying on the ground, I wouldn't have him rebuild it.
Morse made these too, right?
What's that?
Morse make these too?
Yeah, they do.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was it years ago? Was it Falk that bought Rexnord, or Rexnord bought Falk? Which one was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Rex used to buy holdbacks from me when I used to cover that territory out there. They bought Falk. They were still buying holdbacks from me 2 years after they bought them. I asked them one day, I said, why are you still buying our holdbacks? We don't like Falk.
They still.
Wasn't Morris involved with travel work one way too, tied into, or am I thinking of another company?
Another company.
All right, let's go on to the hoods. You guys get many people come to you looking for hoods? Or is it 22 gauge? Galvanized?
I've seen.
The bands are 12. The majority that I've sold are the full style. I mean, Todd, majority that you sold over the years, full style?
Yeah, half and half. I don't know. Yeah,
What?
right, full. I don't, we sell so many of these things, you keep kind of lose track.
So that gets into all the different models. Any one full style in Canada, 70% of our hood business is made one full style. And then it gets into, tells you the bell widths for each style. We got bands 12.
There's only gonna be one problem on hoods that you guys might come into, see out there in the field. If you have a customer with SEMA E-idlers, and he's got trainers. The A1 hood in most cases will not work. When you look at trainers, you've got the actuating rolls on the sides. We don't know what our competitors' heights are on those actuating rolls and how far out those arms stick. So in some cases, on SEMA E's, we have to supply an A63 hood because of that. So if you run into some cases where a customer has SEMA E idlers, make sure, or just double check with him, he's got trainers on there. We will go with a different hood for you to clear that span. And all an A63 is gonna do is gives you a taller height on it, so we can get away from those actuating arms. Now, some people will just buy them, stick with the A1s, and they'll cut a slot. Yeah, you know, they don't wanna wait any long, they don't wanna change things out, just cut a slot in it, so that roller has some place to move. So, but just be aware of that, so if you do run into that situation, trainers sometimes can be a problem with hoods. Only on SEMA E's usually.
Are, hoods coming into play because of, regulations?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, dust, yeah. Well, I know in Canada, there's the environmental, the choppers fly over certain spots on a continuous basis just to monitor the dust levels.
You know, there's only two manufacturers in the States that makes hoods. Us and our competitor that we put in business.
That is.
Years ago, we had a manufacturing facility in Aurora, Illinois. And the gentleman that worked the plant went on strike. So we went down the street, this metal shop, and asked them if they could make hoods for us while we're on strike. We supplied the machines for them, blah, blah, blah. They made hoods for us. I don't know how long the strike, 6 months, 7 months. That was fine, no problem. Now, you would think after the strike was over, we would have went back and got the machines. No, never went back and got them. And all the hood machines are hand built. We build them all in-house. So,
That was a do-over, eh?
you know, you talk about big corporations and big companies, whether it's us or anybody else. We've all done some stupid things. You know, I'll give you a good example of how dumb some people are. We were owned by Spadala years ago. Spadala went around and bought up other companies and they called them Spadala houses. Basically, their distribution arm. They bought a company up in Minnesota called Viking Supply. We owned them for maybe 10 years. Then Metso bought us, and Metso's first thing was, get rid of those Spadala houses. Because they were just a nightmare, you know. They didn't serve a purpose. But what do you do when you buy a company? You protect the name you bought, blah, blah, blah. So we got rid of Viking, we shut Viking Supply down, we shut it down. Well, one of the gentlemen who worked for Viking went down to Minneapolis. Hey, is Viking Supply a trademark, registered trademark? Does someone own that name? Nope. He trademarked it, started business back up the next day under Viking Supply, and Metso had the nerve to say, we're gonna sue you for using that name. They didn't, when they bought the company, they didn't buy the name. They didn't protect it. Just examples of some stupid stuff some people do. And we all done stupid things.
In the early 90s, bolt-on legging was introduced. The same Dutch gentleman I mentioned earlier about the tension and the belt. He was instrumental in Canada in getting the bolt-on legging out into places. And once they had it, a lot of people call it flop legging because it makes such a noise. But once people have it, they swear by it. In the rainy season, you know, just start up. It just makes a lot of the guys' life so much easier. Self-cleaning helps the belt, right? And I always, with one of my pet peeves, you know, if you can show a huge gap, I always have 3/8 of an inch, maybe a little more, a little less, but all the pictures show a much huge, bigger gap. Not difficult to Herb and I did the first installation in Calabogie Hills, north of Ottawa. And the gentleman was just a small quarry, and he was pre-drilling the holes, and he had arms on him like this, and Herb said, get in there. I was just young. He said, get in there and put pressure on his arm, and I looked at him and I said, you don't need any help from me, do ya? Right? He said, no, I got it. It's not difficult to install, and it's probably been, as far as an accessory, one of the best selling accessories for us in the Canadian market. In the US market, the impact bars, impact stations caught on better.
Well, everything,
right?
everything has its place. Mike's been successful, especially in his territory. And his territory is no different than what it is in Pennsylvania and Ohio. You know, we try to run as long as we possibly can in the fall. It starts to freeze. One thing that stops us is the water freezing up. The bad thing about the grip flex, or flat lagging, you call it makes one rotation, and it's back to natural rubber again. All the ice is knocked off, and it grips back on that belt. So when that belt, it's just a piece of rubber, it's just there, it flaps like this. So when it comes around, it just flaps. What's nice about it, when that head puller is pulling on that belt, what causes slippage is your rubber's wore out, and that belt's got so much tension, it wants to slide on something. With the trail grip, I can still call it trail grip.
So do I.
I'll always call it trail. It gives, that's why we have to keep a gap between the two segments, is that material will stretch with that belt, so it keeps a constant, more surface of rubber gripping rubber all the time. That's what's made it so successful. Now, once people do it and they install it, they love it. I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic. But it's got some disadvantages. One, it never wears out, and it's expensive. But it's only expensive if you look at the whole overall cost of it versus what it does. And you get someone to try it on one pulley, they'll be sold.
What about the pulley bars? I really haven't sold that many of them. You haven't sold them?
Do you have any issues with debris or material getting in between that gap?
No, once it makes at least a half a revolution, it's gonna fall out.
Even if it's wet or?
Yeah, I think it just flops on there, it knocks everything off in there.
You get a look at this picture, you get a better idea there.
Yeah, I see it, Joe. Yep, I'm there.
Yeah.
Ceramic legging, that's really caught on in the last few years, one of our dealers up in Canada. And, it's actually caught on in a few, really remote sites more than anything else. Right, I should've brought a sample of that with me. I don't remember where it is now. Let's just go back. Oh, too far. Keep doing that, going right on back. Well, we're getting into the meat or potatoes of it now. I mean, what do you guys, has there been, other products that's jumped out at you more than another? The bolt-on leg and the hoods, the belt cleaners.
All of them.
Yeah.
That's the one thing, we have such a huge product line. If you can't get the items in right away, I'm never worried about it, cause then I try and get the hoods in, try and get the bolt-on legging in, the belt cleaners. If I can get one or two items in and out of place, then I'm happy. And then, on down the line, if he wants to try our unders or our retro rolls, then, he knows, you know, our reputation with the other products. That's the way I've always went at it.
Who are the big names in the business on the idlers who will run into Superior,
FMC,
FMC?
Continental, Precision, Nordstrom, used to be Sullivan Strong Scott
Yeah, there won't be
in
that
Canada.
here.
But
And
now
what you're
they're
gonna
out
run, what
here.
you're gonna run into in eastern PA in this area is PPI and Superior and SA.
PPI being Precision.
Precision.
Well, they neither.
Yeah, I mean, between us three, you know, we're pretty predominant in this area.
They're down heavier duty, it's FMC, Continental, and us.
Yeah, you're gonna see Continental more Well, they pretty much own the underground mine when it comes to mining. They own that market. You're gonna see FMC, where they've been strong over the years, power plants. Everybody had their niche. Everybody just went after a niche market. You know, we were always a B and C company, sand and gravel, above ground. Very simple, very clean. They never ventured too far out. You know, Continental went after underground, and they pretty much own that market, and a lot of the large mining above ground stuff. FMC was big worldwide. When it came to power plants and industrial type stuff, FMC was big. But then when you got Precision and Superior started, they went after the easy stuff, mainly our market.
And that ties into exactly what you're saying. Where we went big was we had the plant in Canada doing the heavy duty items. Out in Syncrude was really our first bread and butter customer on the heavy duty, and that was a test ground for us. So then US saw our success, and they started looking for applications in the US market.
Yeah, you know, years past, it's always been easy. You know, we've taken the approach, and we're taking the approach again with my new organization for the most part, is seeding the market through the OEMs and engineering firms. But as we all know, the last 5 years, there haven't been a whole lot of plants built. So you haven't been able to seed the market too much. So what do? We had to steal business from our competitors. And you know, and it's getting tougher and tougher all the time. But we still do it, and we're still very, very successful at it. Where our growth is the OEMs and engineering firms. We have to seed the market for people, our distributors, our resellers out there, they have something to sell. Because once it's on equipment, it's hard for them to change over, especially when it's new. They're gonna wait a while until they get a bad taste in their mouth, or somebody makes a mistake, either sold it to them, or doesn't do what they told them it's gonna do. And you've gotta be right there and be on, like dogs on, you know what.
This product here, it can be iffy depending upon the state, the regulations. In Canada, I've been at a trade show where the ministry guy came up. He's, you know, kind of looked, and somebody said to him, "Do you approve that?" He said, "I don't approve it, but I don't disapprove it." They're very sticky depending upon where you are. I don't know, in the US, Todd knows more than I do, but it protects against the pinch point. And a ministry guy, I call it ministry, the regulation, government regulation. As long as it's a plus, right, and the Canadian market, they wouldn't say, "No, you can't use that on us."
Yeah, OSHA doesn't have a rule or a guideline of what the template has to be. It basically states anything 8 foot and below has to have some kind of guard for a pinch point. This meets those requirements. Because there's no rule what has to be OSHA approved. Anything 8 foot and above has to have some kind of cage on it to catch that roll in case it gets knocked out of the bracket so it won't fall on someone's head. The 8 foot and below is basically, if you can reach with your hand, it has to have a pinch point guard on it. So it's pretty well accepted throughout the United States from that standpoint. I'm sure that one of these days our lovely government will tell us, you know, we're all doing it wrong, and we have to all submit papers and spend thousands and thousands of dollars, and then have this committee look at it, and that committee, and by the way, we'll start a new committee to look at their committee, and 10 years down the road, we'll be back where we are today.
But if you want your rollers, you can keep your rollers.
Well, don't get me started on that one.
If you like your rollers, you can keep your rollers. Period.
You know, I believed them.
Don't give me oxygen.
No, let's not go there.
Okay, one of the last products we're gonna touch on, and Todd's gonna jump in more than me on the belting. I mean, every one of your binders, I don't think you have. This is our main, you got it there, so just check it out. Belting's the last section, I believe, in the binder.
Yep.
This is our molded edge belting. Yeah, y'all got them? Wow.
You gotta go that one.
Man.
I figured last section I would have kind of.
You know, Metso's been making belting for 100 years. We had, at one time, I don't know, 5 or 6 belting plants in Europe.
Now we have the one in Belgium.
Well, we got a couple in Belgium, and we got our engineering, and all our technical stuff is done in Moors, Germany. And then we got 3 plants in China now, 1 in India, that produce belt for us. We are not gonna be someone's sole provider of belt. Let me make that perfectly clear real quick. We'd like to, but we're just not a big boy in the belt business. What we do is we do it very well, 2 and 3 ply. You guys call them 220, we call ours 250. You guys call it 330, we call ours 375. It's all molded edge. You guys familiar with molded edge? You know, on cut belt, you can see all the plies, 2 and 3 plies. With our belt, we just go out, we stop the fabric, and then we put another maybe a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch of rubber encapsulated around the edge. We call it a molded edge. That way, the fabric, the polyester, and the nylon is not exposed. So leather can't damage it. Leather can't get in there and separate it. It makes it a lot easier, if you talk to splicing crews, it makes it a lot easier for vulcanized splicing. They would prefer to vulcanize molded edge. Like I said, we have, what, 5 stocking locations now in the United States. And what we stock is just typical 2 and 3 ply stuff, 24 through 48. We have some little bit of 60 inch. We have MOR belt in stock now.
What's that?
Well resistant for wood chips and so forth, like that. We stock it in, like I said, St. Louis, Chicago, Clarksdale, Mississippi, Tampa, Florida, and Bridgeport, Texas, which is actually a suburb of Dallas.
Expensive, relatively speaking?
No, it's not, no, if you look at our cost versus cut belt, we're right, you have 2 or 3%. You know, we're all, I mean, with black belt, you guys sell black belt. I mean, that stuff is downright nasty pricing. And, you know, a penny a foot's gonna change a big difference for you. We can certainly play those games. But it's more, you know, it's good belt. And we sold quite a bit of it, especially in Pennsylvania in the last 3 or 4 years. Probably in excess of $3 or $4 million. I've been very successful, especially over in Western PA. So, you know,
Where are they stocking this?
Clarksdale, Mississippi, which is just south of Memphis, at the Iowa factory. Tampa, Florida. Bridgeport, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas. Bridgeport's a little bit west of Dallas. Fenton, Missouri, which is St. Louis. Chicago, Illinois. And we have it staged at 4 of our bigger dealers. We own the belt, they just ship it and cut it out for us. So, we usually ship belt within 1 or 2 days. So if you're in need of it, you can certainly keep us in mind.
Now, is that for all conveyor applications or any elevator applications?
No.
No elevator?
No. Just strictly, just standard black 2 and 3 ply. We can order specialty belt. We can get any kind of belt you want. We have to order, you know, our containers when you come in all the time from the factories. The one thing we don't do is chevron belts and stuff like that at this point in time. Steel cable we do. We could do 4 ply, 5, you know, all type 5 ply, 1,000. Any type of belt, but anything we don't stock is 12 to 14 weeks delivery. And it's actually better pricing if you want to buy a container from us.
Probably.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
And it's all that molded edge?
all molded edge.
There's been some, our one main distributor out there in Canada, a lot of his customers more in the northern sites, thick skims. But that's more of a market specific.
Yeah, I can get that thick skins versus skinny skins.
Do you want me to go over the main, questions here that you sent me, that Rob sent me? Start with them and then we can get into everybody else's questions from there.
us back on the belt. You selling it here in Eastern PA?
Please.
You said you've been successful in Western PA. How about Eastern PA, Central and Eastern?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'll tell you right now, Conviver, they've probably bought $3 or $4 million off in the last 3 or 4 years. They haven't bought any stock 2 and 3 ply for the last year and a half.
He's out of Baltimore, right?
Well, they're like a State College. They're Pittsburgh State College. They don't stock anything in Baltimore.
No.
They closed that facility.
Okay.
Basically Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, and Oxford, Mass, which is Boston area.
So he's up with a He's a fellow up in the Allentown area.
It's ASCO.
Yeah.
ASCO.
Yeah. One of your guys too.
New.
No?
New. They're a direct competitor of ours. They make their own belt cleaners.
Oh, they do?
They
Okay.
make their own impact stations. And, I don't think they wanna talk to us about belting, or,
Alright.
we don't wanna talk to them either.
I have a question, why was the airline discontinued?
I'll let you answer that one, Todd.
It was getting harder and harder to get parts made for it. It was also misapplied in a lot of applications by other individuals within our group. And when I say that, it wasn't their fault. It was a policy that we had for years. We offered 30-day try and buys. And we still do 30-day try and buys even on some belt cleaner applications. They're site specific, and we have to look at every single one. The air knife was always easy to say, well, we'll give you a 30-day try and buy. Some of our guys never went to the job site and looked at the application. 30 days after it was installed, he came back. And another one came back. And another one came back. And before you know it, you've got 8 or 10 of them back at the factory in Belleville.
In bad shape in some
In
cases.
bad shape. And it has got to the point where it was just, hey, I didn't want to discontinue. I probably sold the most of them out of anybody, and I never had one return. I mean, it was just, but it became a dying application. It wasn't that many sold. They were getting cost prohibitive. You know, we sold them 10 years ago, 36 inches, $2,500. Now you're looking at $5 grand. And then you got the noise problem. A lot of people wanted mufflers put on them. The guys inside, you put them in rooms where a conveyor is, and the room's no bigger than this, and they say it's too loud.
83 decibels.
You know, and, well, it wasn't just ours, it was just everything else running in that room. You know, we just added more noise. So they took the approach to discontinue it, and it is what it is. I mean, some of us didn't like it. I would never say it will never come back. You know, it might come back someday. It wouldn't take much for it to do it again. But it was just getting harder and harder to get the housings made, machining them, motors were okay. It was just getting housings made. And anymore, when you talk to these foundries and stuff, these castings were just getting so doggone expensive. You'd order, 10 at a time or what have you, and they'd cost you $50. You know, you get short, you order 5, and it would cost you $150. And you order next time, you order 50 of them, you get it for $40. I mean, it's just, and it was all because of supply and demand. You guys go through your warehouse here, you get a run on something, so you put more in. It doesn't turn for another 4 months, 6 months to a year, and next thing, but you haven't turned them in over a year. You got too many of them. Get rid of them. Right? We have the same problem. And now, with all the inventory control within Metso, keep in mind, worldwide we do $10 billion a year, 36,000 employees. Inventory is a word we don't like to bring up a lot, because they don't like it.
They don't like the salesman to bring it up.
We want more, and they want less. So.
All right, there's a few questions there that Rob had for me. I'll just hit them, and then you guys got any what is your value proposition? We feel our value proposition is our large, diverse product range. And we have the technical backup, we have engineers, right? And product support guys who will come out and travel with you. I can travel with you, we have another group as well.
Let me go take a minute, bring you up to speed about this. When we formed the SCS group, Screening Conveyor Solutions, Mike and I, before this group was formed, we were just regional sales managers for Stevens Adams. I did the Northeast as a senior regional sales manager. And we merged these two groups together. Now it's called Screening and Conveyor Solutions. We have 4 distinct divisions within this group. We have one group as a product support division. And these guys are strictly product support. And there's some of our old counterparts that work with Mike and myself. These guys are out here just to support the organization and all the dealers or what have you, as a support function. That's it. They have no selling, no nothing, just support, technical support, anything we need. The group that I took over or was appointed to is sales manager for the OEMs, engineering firms, and resellers and national accounts is what we're responsible for our group. Mike has all of Canada, Northeast United States. We have our guy Charlie Christian, more south. I took a small territory along with the responsibility for US and Canada also. So we took all the resources we had and put the people in the proper positions that fit their actual functions, what they were good at. There's a lot of us that had, we could sell, but we weren't very technical. We had guys that couldn't sell their shit. They could really tell you about the product and they could fix things and know solutions and stuff. So we've put everybody in the right positions to do this. So from that standpoint, when you look at it, we have, I think we probably have overall, from the groups we have now, it's only short-lived. We've only been together for what, 4 months now, Mike? Right now, we can see the value in it to benefit all our customers. Because now we can pull from all different resources. You're not just relying on one person anymore. We can pull people in from different areas on their expertise.
Top 3 industries for our product and why? Aggregate, mining, and construction. Predominantly you guys is going to be aggregate and construction, right? What industry are you weak in? Food industry, just because of all the restrictions and everything for food grade quality is something that we never got into. We used to be in the Canadian market. We were stronger in the forestry industry years ago. I don't know. I don't think it's one of our major in the U.S. either.
When you get to, that's another thing. You guys talk about what we had our niches at. Paper mills. Rex owned the paper mills for years when it came to idlers. Rex Nord owned it. They were pretty much the idler of choice. No, Rex Nord's not exactly the idler business anymore.
What are the questions to determine a need for your product? Well, we've got the application data sheets. Mainly right, spillage problems, wear problems. There's a good underwear products. There's the abrasion resistant liners. It's a really good product, and that's going to be something that's going to be getting stronger and stronger in our new product group. What are the features of your product that will differentiate you from the competition? Well, our long track record and experience, we're devoting more and more to R&D. We're putting money into our plant, Clarksdale, $7 million, as Todd said. There's a commitment on our behalf to get stronger and innovation. Okay, questions to ask and spec. There again, the application data sheets, or just call us up. Picture is worth 1,000 words. Send a picture. Get a sample roll. Send it in. What sales tools are available? As Todd alluded to, we have the product support group, and manufacturer for leads. Todd and I were talking about this before we came in. Well, we're getting stronger in marketing and advertising, and as we get stronger in that, then we will get more requests, hopefully in your guys' area, right? And of course, if, we know that it's, you guys are the ones that are closest and are calling on our products, we'll turn.
You know, one of the things in the group that I'm responsible for now, we are going to hire 2 telemarketing people. These 2 people's responsibility, we're hoping to have them in place by January. These 2 people's responsibility will be calling on a lot of the resellers, a lot of our distributors. Part of their function. Their function is calling on end users. So we can find what they need, what they want. Did someone call on you? You know, here's your local SA representative in the area, blah, 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 you know, the song and dance. We've never done that in the past. This is gonna be all new to us. But Metso's committed 2 people for us, the resources, the funding, and hopefully we'll be in place. So we're gonna start generating a lot more leads for our distributors down the road. In the past, we haven't done a whole lot of advertising. And we'll tell you that. We just never spending money on advertising. We are now. I think that this month was on mostly all the trade magazines to the new Conveyor Solutions group. So that's starting to happen. I saw an ag manager the other day and also fit in 40, so it's starting to happen now. They allocated $250,000 to us for advertising for the next 6 months leading up to ConExpo. And that's gonna be the big push for us. I mean, you guys all know what ConExpo is?
I think we're doing a road trip, right?
That-
Nothing I've heard of, but
Vegas.
it sounds like we
Las
are.
You guys,
Vegas.
you know what ConExpo is, don't you?
Yeah.
Largest trade show in North America every 4 years, 125,000 people, 5-day show.
And the freight companies make it.
Yeah,
Viva Las Vegas.
among other things, but, yeah, well, you know, we all look forward to going out to Las Vegas every 4 years. We're there for half a day and we all wanna go home, you know?
Well, you were there for almost 2 weeks one year, weren't you?
Yeah, my NASCAR race.
So, our competition with your product line is whom?
Well, for you guys, your competition is gonna be the 3 national accounts, the Applieds, the Motion, and the Command. I will say this, you guys, if I remember correctly, you have an advantage on pricing versus them. They're set at a certain price, we never set that price. Those 3 people are set at one standard price, and that's that.
Really?
Yep. Yep.
So
And
needless to say,
they're all 3 equal.
Oh, why
Now,
not?
it's not to say that we don't do special deals
That's
with them.
probably what
Gotcha.
everybody's gonna want.
We'll do
Sure.
special deals with you guys too,
Wider
but
box.
you have to bring those deals to us. You just can't say,
I'll go.
well, I'm high, you gotta
I'll
cut
go
the price.
Oh, you'll be different, okay.
I can tell you right now, I've never said no to Mike on cutting a price. When I ran SA years ago, when I was a sales manager for all North America, I never said no.
So needless to
But I
say,
need, we need information.
for those 3 guys, for those 3 competitors, or big box competitors as we call them.
Yeah,
they-
yeah.
Do you feel you're in a position with them that you're the go-to guy?
No,
Okay.
no, absolutely not. They're just order takers. It's whoever the last person who called on them the last time, that's the inside person said, "Listen, I can call an applied store right now and say, you ain't 36-inch idlers? Well, what kind do you need? What are you selling? Well, the last guy I saw was from XYZ. Or my buddy works for him now, he took me to lunch last week.
Okay.
You know, the biggest competition you have around here, and I'll be honest with you, is Conviver. Conviver is a pain in everybody's side. They sell PPI, they stock a lot. They get very good pricing from Precision. Their guys are hungry, because they're 100% commission. And they sell a lot.
Yeah, those who are pushing the PPI line, we usually have a problem with.
But we need to know when you're up against those guys. You called Mike, and we need to know that. I can tell you right now, when we're up against the competition, I have no problem with making deals. But you have to be honest to us up front and let us know who we're up against and what the price levels are. just to come off something and say, we're high against PPI, high what? What's high mean? You know, so we need that information. So the more information you can get from your customers, and we can get a lot of information from our customers if they're, because they'll spill the guts to you, especially if they like you. You know, so, but they're tough. You know, ASCO can be tough because they sell Superior. And that, you know, I was gonna say like Stuart Avis, they're mainly project people, you know, for the most part. They sell SA, but the majority of their business, 90% is project work. When they get conveyors to build or something like that, they build their own conveyors. Kemper, they sell anything, the cheapest stuff they can find.
I don't do it on camera.
Well, Lynn's not much. He's out in the restaurant out in front all the time now. Greg Doniger is a pretty good guy.
He's not gonna spend $1 on me.
Is that Kemper?
Yeah.
No, don't call on him.
I don't. I know the story.
No, dude, unless you're cheap,